Welcome back to the Ben Mulroney Show. Thank you so much for spending some of your Monday with us. This moment for Mark Carney's Liberal government, it's an inflection point. He got elected on the promise of building Canada into an energy superpower. What that means, however, and how he gets there, if in fact he does, that's what matters. And he, over the weekend, met with Premier Danielle Smith. His tweet reads, "I had a constructive meeting today discussing what matters most, building one united Canadian economy, including getting big things built and major infrastructure projects off the ground in Alberta and across Canada." Sounds good, but the one word he didn't use was pipelines. Here is the woman opposite him at that table, Danielle Smith, talking about the revenue lost from unbuilt pipelines.
One of the numbers I've been saying, and this is again to put into context why Albertans are so furious that we've been stymied. If we built Energy East, that would have been a 1 million barrel a day pipeline. If we built Keystone, that would have been about a 900,000 barrel a day pipeline. If we'd built Northern Gateway, that would have been about a 600,000 barrel a day pipeline. 2.5 million barrels per day at today's prices would generate $55 billion worth of revenue, of which about $17 billion would go to governments. So when you think about what we would be doing with $17 billion of additional revenue each year, the hospitals, the schools, the ability to hire nurses and doctors, it is not just an academic argument when the federal government gets in our way of building those pipelines. It has a real impact on our economy. So in the short term, yes, we've got a bit of a pinch, but in the long term, if we can address some of those issues, then I think we'll be able to have the revenues to keep up with growth.
Yeah, so this is one of those moments where we are going to get to know exactly who Mark Carney is, what kind of prime minister he is, and what his values are based on what comes out of these meetings. And joining us to discuss this is Kris Sims, the Alberta director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Kris, welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much, Ben.
So you wrote a piece in the Toronto Sun over the weekend that said, what's the title of it? Ottawa and Carney must get serious and listen to the West. So I think, yeah, we're both saying the same thing. You know, he's saying a lot of the right things. He took a meeting with a ton of oil and gas CEOs. It was a closed door meeting, so it wasn't for performance sake. I'm sure they talked about it a lot. Are these good and positive indicators, or is the fact that he's not even willing to tweet the word pipeline concerning?
It's very concerning. He won't say like the term oil and gas. He won't say pipeline. And we can't bank on word games.
Yeah.
He can't say, we're going to build big things. Are you talking about a string of big windmills?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Are you talking about like an entire hallway, across Canada of solar panels? Because that's not funny.
Yeah.
Like we actually need full capacity for our natural resources. We did the math, Ben.
Yeah.
You've probably heard the term since 2015, we've lost out on revenue from natural resources since 2015 to the tune of like $670 billion over the past 10 years. You add that to the energy cap coming from Ottawa, Ben, that is the entire federal income tax bill for the populations of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba for 10 years.
Yeah. No,
this is real.
No, I get it. I get it. But I guess I look at his meeting with all of the executives. The picture that was on his social media, but it was a closed door meeting. So I can't believe it was a meeting for performance sake, and I can't believe that many oil and gas executives would show up just to be paid lip service. So I have to believe. I have to operate in good faith, and I have to believe that he was there to listen to them. And I got to wonder, at some point, those voices, aren't they going to find purchase?
I hope so. I'm trying to stay kind of blue-pilled on this issue, because there's been a lot of black pills rolling around, especially since the election.
Yeah.
I will say, though, when it comes to big oil executives, you got to be careful because they'll often love hearing lip service.
Yeah.
Because, for example, they love things like industrial carbon taxes. And when Rachel Notley slammed Alberta with a carbon tax of our own here in Alberta, she had oil executives up on stage hugging and kissing her. Because they get to, play around with these credits. What matters here is for real people with real jobs and real income. And so we really hope that the person that Carney's listening to in the room is Premier Smith.
Yeah. So at what point, what's the drop dead date here in your mind when we as a nation need to understand what he's talking about when he talks about one united Canadian economy, big things built, major infrastructure projects. It's vague. It sounds good, but that doesn't mean it is good. At what point is the rubber going to meet the road?
I think it's this summer.
Yeah.
I'm here in Lethbridge, Alberta. Okay. I can see the border to Montana. It's right at the center of, I would call it the freedom movement out west. There are meetings all over the place, Ben. There are meetings every weekend for Western sovereignty. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And when this thing gears up over the summer, over the rodeo circuits, and people are having chats over the fence post, like, they've got to have serious commitment. If he would get rid of Bill C-69 and scrap the energy cap, those are two huge pins he could pop in this balloon. That would help immensely.
And look, I don't want to be an alarmist, and I'm not trying to put something out into the universe that doesn't belong there. But I'm concerned that Donald Trump one day, in an effort to change the channel from some bad news he's having, let's say he's in Kananaskis and it's a beautiful summer day in Alberta, and he gets in front of a microphone and says, you know what, I thought I needed all of Canada to be my beautiful, cherished 51st state, but I'm thinking all I need is Alberta. And I can promise you no more equalization payments, and all you got to do is build some more pipelines, which I've already authorized, south of the border. We'll take care of everything, and we will send back trillions of dollars into your economy. I don't know what that does. I mean, if Carney can't get ahead of that, I think we've got a real problem in this country.
You're right. And that's a serious thing. I've seen flags all over the place with the shape of Alberta, with 51st state. And just imagine him saying, you'll automatically be on the US dollar.
Yeah. You'll be paying world prices. You're going to pay world prices, and you'll be living with the US dollar. Again, no equalization payments ever again. And what we're going to be sending back to you, we're going to make you one of the richest places on the planet. It's unlike the Quebec separation question of 1995. It's not about building. The question on the sovereignty ticket isn't about building some amorphous potential relationship with Canada. A real live deal would already be on the table with the Americans. I don't want that to happen, but it could.
The thing that people are asking each other at these very serious meetings with serious people at them is, if you were offered to join Canada under this deal we have right now, would you?
Yeah. I mean,
people are.
I've heard that thought experiment before, and but Mark Carney has the option to get ahead of it. He has an opportunity to get ahead of it, and he could, like you said, stick a pin in the balloon that is growing of a Western alienation.
Yes, and he could practically do it. This is not some pie in the sky thing. And I got to clear something up. We don't mean for taxpayers to build pipelines. That would be horrendous.
Yeah.
What happened to Trans Mountain was a joke. That was supposed to be a private company spending about $6 billion of its own dollars. The Trudeau government foot dragged so long, the company threw up its hands and walked away. Taxpayers are on the hook for $30 billion.
Yeah.
That is not the way to go. What we're talking about is get rid of these laws that are restrictive and get out of the way. If he just got rid of Bill C-69 and scrapped the cap on energy, a lot of this would go away, Ben.
Well, look, we're paying very, very close attention. And look, I want to be somebody that is a responsible steward of the environment. And all of these things are possible. All of these things, we are capable of doing all of these things. But this government needs to put down the ideology and look at what is practically happening on the ground and address these very real, imminent problems that if they don't, they're going to have a whole new basket of issues to deal with.
Exactly. One of the best ways to reduce global emissions is to sell cleaner burning natural gas to places like India.
Yeah.
That's the smart way to go about it, man.
Hey, Kris Sims, as always, love having you on your show. I hope you have a great week ahead and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Ben.